Who says the NFL doesn't value running backs? With the number 8 pick in the NFL draft in 2023, the Atlanta Falcons take Texas running back Bijan Robinson. I'm Peter Bukowski with Locked On Falcons host Aaron Freeman. Locked On NFL draft coverage presented by Ultimate Football GM. You think you can run an NFL franchise? Visit ultimate-gm.com to play the ultimate NFL GM simulation game. Start your dynasty today. And Aaron, I do have to wonder if you think that you might be able to build a dynasty maybe better than Atlanta, because Bijan Robinson, maybe not your favorite pick here. Why was this the selection for the Falcons?
The Falcons are the team that says we take the best player available, and they have proved it. They've backed it up several years in a row now. They took Kyle Pitts, number 4 overall. The tight end, positional value means nothing to them. They paid $105 million this offseason to a guard. They went out and spent a bunch of money on a D tackle, a safety, a linebacker, and now they've taken a running back with the 8th overall selection. Bijan Robinson is going to be their version of Derrick Henry that Arthur Smith, the Falcons head coach, had in Tennessee, had a lot of success as sort of the premier player in the offense, the sort of guy that is kind of the foundation of the offense. We know that this running game works. We saw Tyler Algier set the record for a rookie Falcons running back with over 1,000 yards as a 5th round pick. But Algier didn't do it all by himself. He had a lot of help from Cordero Patterson. He had a lot of help from Caleb Huntley. Patterson's 32 years old. Caleb Huntley tore his Achilles. So the Falcons needed to add something to that running back room, and they decided we're going to take the best running back in this draft class. And a lot of people think Bijan Robinson's one of the 3 to 5 best players in this draft. And as I said, they believe in best player available. And so clearly they agreed with that assessment of Bijan Robinson.
They did have the opportunity to take Will Levis, the quarterback from Kentucky. They eschewed that opportunity. Desmond Ridder, for now at least, is going to be the guy. And Aaron, our friends at FanDuel have not put out the odds yet for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Tell me why it should not be Bijan Robinson, because he just seems like he's going to walk right in, rush for 1,200 yards in this offense, because as you mentioned, this is the most varied and the most, for my money, the most fun to watch run game in football. And as you mentioned, they just locked up their offensive line. So it seems like this is kind of a no-brainer from a fit standpoint.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think Bijan Robinson is going to be the overwhelming favorite over at our friends at FanDuel for Offensive Rookie of the Year. And I'm sure I'll put in a little bit of money, early on when the odds at least are the most favorable, presumably, as before we get closer to the season. So, yeah, I think this is a player that's going to come in right away and contribute, right? And that is something that the Falcons have shown a tendency looking at with Kyle Pitts, their number 1 pick from 2 years ago, coming into a team that at that time when we drafted Kyle Pitts, we thought he was joining Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley. Julio Jones went away. Calvin Ridley went away. So they had to use Kyle Pitts.
And then Calvin Ridley really went away.
Yeah. And, a 1,000 yards season for a rookie tight end. I think only maybe the second or third time that's happened in the last 50, 60 years. Obviously, Drake London with Calvin Ridley and Julio Jones going, you needed someone to come in right away as a wide receiver. They did it again now with Bijan Robinson. Again, he's going to probably share the load with Tyler Algier, but I don't see that as a problem. I think in this day and age, especially if you're an offense like the Falcons that are very committed to running the football, I think you need 2 running backs that can do it. We saw most recently the Cleveland Browns break their playoff drought with a 2-headed backfield with Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb a couple of years ago. And I think the Falcons are looking to do the same since it's been 5 seasons since they made the playoffs. And, it'll make things a lot easier on Desmond Ridder, handing the ball off every single time. And basically, hey, then on 3rd and 2, just throw the ball to Kyle Pitts or Drake London, whichever one's open. And that's kind of the easy mode offense that Arthur Smith and this Falcons team is hoping for this season.
Yeah, there are 2 modes of thought when it comes to team building and quarterbacks, right? There is one that says, if you don't have a quarterback, grab one. If you're not sure you have a franchise quarterback, take one. The Falcons had opportunities each of the last 2 years. Last year, maybe less so, right? Because of the quarterback class. But certainly Justin Fields was an option for them when they took Kyle Pitts. But now you add this skill talent, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson, like that's as good a 1, 2, 3 young skill group as just about any team, just from a pure talent standpoint. So what do you think of this, this mode that the Falcons are in to say, look, we're going to see if Desmond Ridder is the guy. And if he's not, then we can go make this move if we have to, but we're going to put him in the best position we can to succeed now.
Yeah, it's kind of a double-edged sword with the Falcons, but in a good way, not in the negative way that term is used. So there's probably a better term I could have used. But you put the talent around the quarterback. So if it puts Desmond Ritter in a position to succeed, you have a really solid young core with him, Algier, Robinson, Pitts, London, all those guys, and several young pieces on their offensive line. And so it puts him in a position to succeed. If he doesn't succeed, then you feel like in the future you have a ready-made opportunity for another quarterback to come in and uplift the team, if that is the case. So it works in both favors for the Falcons. I think, there's been a lot of questions. Why aren't the Falcons looking to upgrade the quarterback? I think probably the biggest criticism I have, and many Falcon fans have, from the Falcons 2022 season is they took too long waiting to see what Desmond Ritter had, so that they don't really know. So you're going into the season feeling somewhat good. You saw some positive things, especially in those last two games that the Falcons won against Arizona and Tampa Bay in week 17 and 18. And you're hoping that can continue into the second year, but you just don't know it yet. And so it's not a surprise to me that the Falcons did not go after Lamar Jackson, as a lot of people wanted and thought they should this offseason. And it's not a surprise that the Falcons didn't take a quarterback high in this draft class. Looking at the quarterbacks available at this time, Will Levis is not going to necessarily help this team win right now any more than Desmond Ritter is going to. I would argue that if you had Will Levis and Desmond Ritter in the same draft class, I don't think they would be that different in terms of the grades that people would apply to them. So I think it makes sense for the Falcons to just see what Desmond Ritter has. And if he works out, then you have a really solid young core to build around for the next couple of years. If he doesn't work out, you still have a really solid young core of talent that you could potentially drop an upgrade at the quarterback position in the future.
Yeah, I don't know how good the Atlanta Falcons are going to be this year, but I know you're going to take some of their players high in fantasy football this year. That is for sure. For more on the Atlanta Falcons draft and all things Falcons, subscribe to Locked On Falcons, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Aaron, thanks.